Hello everyone and welcome to day 6 of the daily Propulsion Swimming Podcast during the Olympic Games in Paris. Lots to take you through today as we had, Dan, I'm going to say it now, probably the best night of swimming that we're going to have at these Olympic Games last night. We've got to review 5 finals and then we've got to preview today.
Honestly, it's definitely up there with one of the best Olympic sessions, final sessions I think we've maybe ever had. I know Phelps has had amazing sessions in Beijing and so on and so forth, but this one, every single final and semi-final was pretty amazing. So this is honestly, one of the best nights. Obviously, Leon Marchand takes all the plaudits, I think. Maybe Pan Zhanle. We'll get through it. There are a lot of races to get through.
Yeah, absolutely. First world record to go. Lots to talk about, and we start things off with the women's 100 meters freestyle final. This one didn't come down to the fast finishers like we thought. So Sarah Sjostrom steals the gold in a 52.16. Tori Husk, who did start strong in a 52.2, gets the silver, and Siobhan Haughey the bronze. Molly O'Callaghan misses the podium altogether, but it was extremely, extremely close. She only missed by 1/100th.
Yeah, and that's honestly what it's coming down to between these medals at the moment. You take a look at the men's 2-3, you look at this race, and it is literally hundreds of seconds. Yeah, she wasn't supposed to race this, was she, Sarah Sjostrom? In fact, she did the medley relay. She did the freestyle relay on the first day, and actually said to her coach, "I don't feel like doing it." And it was actually her, and her coach wanted her to do it, and she was like, "Oh well, I might as well then." And now she's come away with gold.
Wow.
Yeah,
it was really
amazing.
interesting. In the lead up to these games, we thought, oh, she's entered in it. That is notable. And someone who follows us over on our main channel, who subscribed, let us know in the comments section and just said, because they have a knowledge of Swedish swimming, just said, oh yeah, the Swedish Federation entered her. They said, you're at these games, why not get entered? And she went, okay, well, if you're entered, I'll take it seriously, because the target has always been the 50. Me and you, heading in, thought that she could really challenge the 50 world record. A 52.1 is good.
Yeah, it's quite amazing that she really personally doesn't want to do this race, and she's been
doesn't want to do maybe is a bit strong.
Yeah, I was about to say pushed into it, but that's also too strong. I think she's been encouraged to do it, and it's obviously paid off. A 52.1 maybe isn't the fastest time in the grand scheme of things, but again, it's not based on time in this pool. It's just a fantastic swim, and then you say Tori Husk and Siobhan Haughey, the ones who do take it out, and slight brag here, but I did say this in the prediction the other day, didn't I? So, but I also predicted Molly O'Callaghan to win, which to me, that's a massive, massive shock.
Yeah,
no podiums at all for the Australians.
Big, big miss in reality, especially like heading in, and what she did last year just didn't click in this race. But the podium from first to fourth was separated by literally nothing.
It's nothing,
Dan,
isn't it?
We have this conversation on this podcast. Sarah Sjostrom, is she the best female sprinter of all time?
Yes.
We don't need to ask that question. Is she the best sprinter of all time?
Oh, when you're including the men as well.
I think after these Olympic Games, I think you can put her first or second.
I think she's there. I mean, especially if she goes and wins the 53, as I think pretty much the whole world's predicting. I think you have to put her definitely number 2. That's a minimum. Yeah, number 1, probably. I think she is the best sprinter that's ever lived now. If she goes on and wins the 53. This is a conversation
to be had after the Olympic Games, I feel. We will dig into this deeper. Let us know in the comments section on YouTube if maybe... Yeah, I genuinely think the longevity as well. I know Manadou's got the longevity as well on the men's side in like the 50, but she's done it 50 and 100.
Yeah.
And she's
and
still
on the fly
going.
As well. There's more strings to the bow compared to Manadou, let's say, for example. She really is.
Next up on night 5, we had the men's 200 meters butterfly. This one was sensational. Like we said in our preview yesterday, we thought a 152 might win this. And if you had told us during that preview Milak goes a 151.7, we would go, okay, nah, that should be good enough. And he walked into the arena with this swagger.
Oh, I loved it. Yeah.
I think there was like a walkout song that was needed, something like that. He was really living her into the villain role in this.
Yes, very much so.
But it just didn't happen. He really tried to break Marchand. He really took this one out hard. Turned in a 52.8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he just didn't have that last 50. Or maybe it was a case of Marchand really did have that last 50.
Yeah, and I think that's the way I'm looking at it. I think Milak did nothing wrong. You've got to take it out. You look at the state of the pool. And you've got to get to the front, especially on fly with the amount of waves and stuff and turbulence that have caused by the stroke itself. You've got to get to the front, and then usually, Milak of old, he actually maintains it, doesn't he?
Yep.
Whether that's being at the pool for too long, I don't know. But I just think Marchand is just a different level
There's a
of
momentum
swimmer.
behind him now.
Oh, my word. Like I didn't see him coming back like that. I didn't see him winning. And I tell you what, the crowd were mad. And then it just gets even better as this session goes on. Honestly, one of the best races, I think, of this Olympics until later on in this session. Amazing. What a swim. And then Karun as well, rounding up the podium for a great bronze. That's I think we got that podium right, apart from Milak and Marchand the wrong way around, didn't we?
Yeah, heading into the Olympics, I said Marchand for
You
gold
did,
in this
you
one,
did.
so I don't know
Yeah.
why. Well, Milak swims made me switch.
Yeah.
He's gone faster than Phelps has ever gone in this event, and this was Phelps's event. This was the one. I don't think this is Marchand's the event. Do you know what I mean?
Well, it's one of the two. Phelps was either 4IM or 2 fly. It's kind of one
2.5
of
was
those,
what
isn't it?
he made his bread and butter on, really. That was
That
what he came
was the
through
first
in.
one. Yeah, that was the first world record he broke, wasn't it? In the first race he did at the Olympics in Sydney, wasn't it, when he was 15 or something? And now he's gone faster. I tell you what, Bob Bowman, I mean, you got to take our hat off to the guy. He knows when to... He knows how to do a taper properly and get people at their absolute best for the Olympics. And I tell you what, the 200 I am now, is it difficult to look past Marchand? I tell you what.
We'll get to it later on in the meet. Yeah, I think actually Leon was shocked by either the time that he swam or the way that he won that, because his face afterwards was a bit stunned.
Yeah, it's one of the two. It might even be both, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he went into this. Of course, he's going for the gold, but I don't think he expected it to be like that, turn out like that. Because Milak is Milak. He's like a 150 swimmer. Like he's the best 200 fly swimmer that's ever lived, and he's just gone and beaten him by half a second, which is sensational. But Bob Bowman, I think, takes a lot of credit here. He just is a true Olympic coach.
Absolutely.
Like he will get results at World Championships, but at the Olympics, he kind of dominates, doesn't he? Yeah, he does.
Next up was the women's 1500 meters freestyle, a Ledecky show, in a way, like it kind of always is. I know last Olympics she was actually challenged a little closer than she had been ever before. Not the case in this one. She sets a new Olympic record. We didn't say that about Marchand. That was an Olympic record as well.
That was Olympic record. Yeah, true.
2 Olympic records in the pool tonight. Maybe the pool's getting faster.
Yeah. Someone's flicked a switch. Yeah.
Someone has. Under world record pace for the first 500 as well, but
Yeah.
I think it just shows how good that world record is and how fast she came home, that she was some way off it at the end of 15:30.02. Different class.
Yeah.
Distance swimming, this is the bread and butter. I'm looking forward to the 800 battle against Titmus. We've got a lot of Australians who listen to this now who are getting excited about Titmus in the 800. What I would say is Ledecky in this 1500 turned pretty much on Titmus's PB.
Yeah, not far away. 8:14, if I remember correctly. And Titmus is like an 8:12, 8:13 summer PB wise. So she's still favourite, Ledecky. Don't beat around the bush here. She is going to be favourite going into that 800, but it's not going to be as comfortable as this race. This is really Ledecky's race from 10 years ago, basically.
And another more. I don't
she's-
envisage her stopping now.
No, she's going to go to LA, isn't she? She'll probably retire in LA. That's like a really good send-off. That's her 8th Olympic gold and equals Jenny Thompson as the most successful female swimmer in Olympic history. And she's got another race
more
to go. Yeah, so I know there's always a conversation of who is the best female swimmer ever, and kind of Sjostrom and Ledecky are in that sort of conversation, but it's difficult to look past Ledecky just with these Olympic medals and the world records that she's got, which I think, looking at that 1500 world record, she did really well to hold it under for the first 500.
No one's
But
getting
that world
ever
record
near
is
that.
just standing for I don't know how long. Kind of like a David Davis British record's been around for donkeys. I think
That one's
world
got
record...
close, mind. That one
Yeah.
could go at this meet.
It could do. You're absolutely right. But this world record is going to be like Ian Thorpe's 400, which really should still be there. It's kind of like that. It's going to be there for 20, 25 years, I think, maybe even more.
French got their podium in this one, so they really were having one hell of a night. They got silver, and then Isabella Grusser from Germany picks up the bronze.
Yeah.
Quadrella just didn't have the turn of speed that Grosser had in that final 100, which was a shame.
And that's what it came down to ultimately. Pace-wise, she's kind of there, And this is something that Polchineri, I think, has developed, is that little bit of speed. But that's what he knows he doesn't have the speed, a bit like Quadrella. So he just really changes the pace a little bit earlier to try and put pressure on, which is maybe what Quadrella should have done. But yeah, she doesn't quite have that turn of speed, like you say. No. I found, while I was watching that, just questionable techniques, like across the field.
None of them are pretty.
No, it's really not. But the aerobic engines, obviously, are just next level stuff.
And power. Next up on night 5, Leon Marchand completes the dirtiest of dirty doubles. The 200 breaststroke. This one was a show. Let's be honest with you. Yeah. Olympic record, 2:05.85, front runner. Gave Zach Subtlety-Cook really no chance of coming home on him. Yes, Zach Subtlety-Cook had a faster last 50 by like 0.4, but Leon Marchand was over a second clear at that point.
You say that. Zach was definitely fast on the final 50, but on the final 100, if you put the times together, the closing speed 100 split was actually nigh on the same, which just shows that he really did push the first 150, get out there, and make... This is what I was kind of saying to you when we were watching it.
I think he forced the pace on Zach.
Yeah, you got to have the biggest gap between yourselves, and then he's got to work so hard on that final 50, which of course he does close the gap, but it's just too much to do. First swimmer to win 2 individual golds in one night since, I think it was 1976, I heard.
They're a weird double to do as well, because I was trying to think back, and I can't think of any swimmers who have done a 2 fly and a 2 breaststroke.
No, I mean, they're similar in technique-wise, in terms of breathing or whatever, but very different races, Just
I'm sure maybe Phelps has swam both of them.
Oh, I'm sure he has,
but there's no one who's ever set Olympic records in both of them. None of them who's ever won Olympic golds in both of them.
I mean, he's beaten the world record holder and the Olympic champion in the 200 fly, and the former world record holder and the current Olympic champion in 2 breaststroke. Like, he's gone the long routes to do that.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I'll tell you what. I don't know what to make of it, really. I've just watched it, just blown stunned. The crowd's going absolutely mental by this point. And then the next race is the 100 free final, which we'll get to in just a second. But Zach Subtlety-Cook, I think he swam really well. Yeah, kind of similar to Milak. I don't think he did anything wrong. It's just Marchand is just a class apart at this moment in time, and he just nails it. And then Corbeau, someone you predicted for the 100, gets his bronze in a 200. So
I predicted the wrong event.
Yeah.
Best swimming session at an Olympics by a single swimmer ever.
I would have thought so. It's got to be up there, surely. Especially with the 2 events that it is as well. It has to be.
Phelps had a few nasty doubles at Beijing, I remember. They were relays on top of individuals. And I'm not sure if they were all finals, if there were some semi-finals in there.
Yeah, I mean, not that relays are any easier, because you still have to go max out, let's say the 4x2. You still got a strong or hard 200 free in there, or the 100 fly, whatever relay he did. So they're not easy. But the comparison between a 200 breaststroke and a 200 fly, especially when you've just done a 200 fly first, man, that's credit to him. I know there's a little bit of a gap. You had the 1500 in between, and 2 hours is actually quite enough time, I guess, but it's still a very difficult double to do.
And he's not got the day off today either. He's got the 200 IM.
Straight into the 2 IM. Yeah.
Man, not fun. And then we finished the night with the men's 100 meters freestyle. This is... Man, the biggest talking point of the night, even after what we've just gone through with Leon Marchand, a world record goes in a 46.4. Ridiculous time. Like, we're sitting here now probably, just over 12 hours on from that race. We've had time to decompress, and I still can't understand how a swimmer goes to 22.2 and comes back in a 24.1.
Yeah, I will still question that for as long as I probably live, until that world record gets broken eventually somewhere down the line. But a 22.2, that's not surprising, because he usually goes that speed.
Usually go out fast.
That's fine with me. But then the closing speed of a 24.1, that's someone that like Chalmers used to do and Popovich used to do, known for their backhand speed, and he's gone basically the same split after going a 22.2. What on earth? I know there's
by over a second.
Yeah, there's some people aren't happy about it for whatever reason, but I honestly think, in training, especially Matt, because he's spoken to us on the podcast about, when you break down a race, so the first 15 meters, you time that, and then 15 to 25, and then 25 to whatever, you split the race up. Even the last 5 meters Matt has spoken about, there's time to be made on that little bit, and you make those little segments of the race, and you add up the time. And overall, a perfect time, is actually ridiculously faster than your PB. I genuinely think he made perfect splits on every single part of his race. I don't know how much better he can make that. Kind of similar to Chekon in the 100 back. Just like a perfect race. Can it get any better? I don't know.
Shall we address the controversy around it? Because there are... people listening are going to want our opinions on this. Straight away, all over the internet, there is accusations of doping immediately. And this is the damage that the contamination tests and previous history of Chinese swimming has done to the sport, because we're doubting any swim that comes out of that country, which personally I struggle to feel so strongly as everyone else is, because I'm trying to think not from my Western hat, if that makes any sense. So there have been some ridiculous world records over the past 2 years in the world of swimming. What Ariane Titmus and Molly O'Callaghan have done to the 200 meters freestyle world record is bonkers. What Gretchen Walsh has done to the 100 fly world record at US trials is massive. She knocked 0.3 off that world record. Pan has knocked 0.4 off this world record, and everyone has jumped to drugs cheat. I know going into these games, he had 21 tests in the lead up to these Olympics, and I believe Chinese swimmers are averaging about 20 tests at these games, which
much
is
higher than most.
4 or 5 times higher than every single country. So I'm on the fence right now of innocent until proven guilty. I can't really say anything more than that, but I think it's highly hypocritical of some people to come out and immediately say this isn't possible. To also be predicting David Popovich to be swimming a 141 200 meters freestyle. Gretchen Walsh is a very good example. A few months ago, 0.3
basically
off
the same
100 fly world record. And I'm gonna leave it at that. I don't really want to share my personal opinions.
I turn it on its head and say, let's say Popovich did that. Would people be saying the same thing? And the answer is no. They would not be saying the same thing.
It's a really tough position to be
Just
in.
because he is under this umbrella of the Chinese and they've had their doping problems, let's say, and their accusations, whatever else, and I'm not saying Pan is, I just think he swam the perfect race. Again, this is what Popovich said as well. It is innocent until proven guilty. As of right now, he's not been proven guilty, so he's innocent. And I just think just a fantastic swim, and he has just taken apart one of the best fields that the 100 free has probably ever had, if I'm honest, by a second.
A lot of people have also said it's a slow pull, and he set this world record, which makes it even more controversial. I think you pointed out in the days prior, he is the man who is likely to set a fast time in this because he goes out hard, and he's got an incredibly flat stroke, which maybe the waves just aren't affecting him because he's not bouncing up and down. He's ahead of the rest of this field.
Well, he's effectively more streamlined because you have your, let's say, your Popovich and Chalmers and those guys that do the gallop, and they are kind of up and down. There is forward momentum, obviously, but there's more up and down movement, whereas Pan is very much almost full forward momentum. There's not much bobbing whatsoever. And because of that, I think that's the reason why he's gone the time that he has. It is a big drop, but you're seeing big drops, like you were saying, all over the place. Men's and women's, different distances. So I just think swimming is moving on, you know? So that's my take on it anyway.
Sure, if something comes out in the future, then this stance will change. But I think honestly, we haven't said this about Gretchen Walsh setting world records. We haven't said this about any European swimmer who set world records over the past 2 years. If this was, you're right. If this was like people in the comment section in our preview videos in our world records said Popovich was hitting 45s.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you can't then jump at the throat of someone. Yeah, maybe it's the winning margin, which is more of the people that's got people irked.
I agree that the massive margin of over a second between first and second, which is not supposed to happen.
That's causing the question, not the knock on the world record. Do you think?
No, yes, yeah. And that's the reason why I think people are asking the question. I know it's the biggest margin since, what is it, 1928, 29, whatever it was. But yeah, it's difficult. If the shoe was on the other foot, I don't think there would be any kicking up a fuss at all.
Yeah. So you got to be careful what you say, really.
Well, yeah, really. Yeah. Outside of Pan, I actually think Chalmers, Popovich, and it was Nemeth as well, who I did say was a dark horse, so close to that third.
You almost got it.
Yeah, 47-4-5, something like that, wasn't it? Well, yeah, they were really close, all stuck together. And again, it's just another race, a bit like the women's 100 free, where they're all coming in at the same sort of time. You've just got to get out there, which is what Pan did effectively, and that's why I think he won. So, yeah.
This pool really doesn't favour people coming back.
It doesn't seem that way. I mean, you just saw Molly struggled with the 100 free coming fourth, didn't she? She was coming back, but
Not
too
to the
little too
extent
late, I
that
guess.
she could usually.
Yeah.
Okay, that is day 5 reviewed. On to tonight's final session. And we'll start with the women's 200 metres butterfly, which is going to be a fascinating duel with Summer McIntosh, Regan Smith, and can Zhang Yufei get in there as well?
She's doing a tactic that seems to be working for Marchand and Pan just then, that she takes it out.
Yeah, on a 2-fly though. It's
Well, that's the caveat, I suppose, isn't it? Where you there's only so hard you can take out before absolutely blowing up on the last length. So, and that's where she, I think, can potentially do it. Like, because she goes out strong, she's got that 100 speed underneath her, and then she does seem to hold on. But I just think there's too much work to do to catch Summer McIntosh and Regan Smith.
She's got the Olympic record in this from Tokyo, which is a 2:03.86.
Yeah.
These semi-finals were interesting because Summer McIntosh and Regan Smith were next to each other in the first semi-final, and really neither one of them wanted to give an inch.
No.
Because, I mean, a 2:04.8 from Summer.
Yeah, I think that time's definitely a podium. Not that Summer's going to miss the podium, let's face it. She's going to be on the podium or whatever position she's going to be in. 2:04 is really good going. I was kind of questioning whether they were working hard just because I don't think they wanted to lose that
mental
heat.
edge, yeah.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think that would be better suited to Regan Smith, and she's just missed out. I think she's one of those swimmers that needs that little mental edge, especially she needed it over Kaylee McEwen, which I think she did have.
Yes, so do I.
Because of the world record set that she set in US trials. But then it just completely takes the wind out of her sails when the final happens and she just misses out.
She's got to be careful here.
She's going to be next to her. But
if she doesn't win this gold, I'm not sure there's another individual shot for her.
Well, yeah, the only other shot is the 200 backstroke, which I would favour McEwen for that, definitely.
Yeah.
It's going to be a tough one. I think that's the podium if you're going McIntosh, Smith and Zhang Yufei.
Oh, I disagree.
Oh.
I think Elizabeth Deckers looks strong.
She does, and so does Shackle. I think I've shot the gun a little bit early there. Yeah, Deckers and Shackle did look good in their semi-final swims, didn't they?
Before we predict the podium, should we talk about the Brits then? Because Laura Stevens makes it through after the faster of the first semi-final. She finished 5th in the 2:07.5. She secures her spot in an outside lane. This is her first Olympic final, would you believe? For an Olympic,
crazy, isn't it?
For a world champion. That kind of caught me by surprise slightly. Yeah. But she gets through at the expense of Kiana McInnes on a 2:08.04. We thought sub 2:08 might make this. We got that prediction right.
Got that right, didn't we?
It's a shame because Kiana looked in really, really good form. Her Olympics definitely isn't done, though. She will be racing the fly legs in the medley relay because her 100 looks strong as well. Moving through the rounds in that one. Yeah, hopefully Laura can put up a good fight. She will be, I would have thought, starting fast and then looking to hang on.
I think that's the right phrase. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
If we're thinking Lizzie Deckers is that maybe the podium's a 2.6 low, maybe it's just below 2.6. I think Laura's gone a 2.6 before.
2.66, I feel like, is her PB.
Yeah, so we could be very optimistic Brits here and say that she might get into the conversation.
Oh, that's a very big ask, Sarah. That's a big ask, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Okay.
She's got the right tactic. I think you've got to go for it. You're out in that outside lane, so you've got to go for it anyway. And then, I think it's a case of hanging on. I know Deckers is going to come through. Shackle's going to come through. I think Summer McIntosh and Regan Smith are going to be gone, potentially. But then Zhang Yufei, it's actually quite a good race. Well. I don't think it's all plain sailing for Regan Smith and Summer McIntosh. I think they're going to have to work for this. Not that they're not going to work hard, but this is not an easy and straightforward gold medal for either of them.
Go on then. Podium prediction.
I think Summer McIntosh will actually get that after I've just said that. Regan Smith will get the silver, and then I will stick... Shall I? Yeah, I'll stick with Zhang Yufei, who gets the bronze.
Okay, I'll go Summer, Regan, and Deckers.
Yeah, it's all Shackle. Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Stop trying to make my prediction for me. I've gone Deckers. Next up then on night 6 is the men's 200 meters backstroke. This whole final is separated by 0.6. So yes, Hubert Koss looked incredibly strong in the semi-finals, but in reality, this is still absolutely anyone's game. Some big names do miss out on this final, though. Ollie Morgan from Britain didn't quite make it through. Checo misses out. Ryan Murphy misses out, who, yes, had incredible turns, but you called this from the 100. The swim speed just isn't quite there at this meet for him.
Yeah, which is a shame, I suppose. Yeah. I mean, maybe he's targeted the 100 more so than anything else. Relays, obviously, a big factor for him. Obviously, won his bronze in the 100 backstroke as well. Not too much of a surprise that Chekon missed out. He is better suited, I think, to the 100 distance.
Yep, agreed.
But it's a bit of a shock that Murphy is out. I actually predicted him to win going into the Olympics.
Yeah, I think so we both did.
Yeah, that's egg on our face a little bit. But I think now you'd have to say Koss is the favourite. I know he's the fastest going in, so it's easy to say that. But he did look comfortable doing his 155.9, and the only one, actually, I believe, to go sub 156. It's going to take faster to do that.
It's a close field, though, so we need an 8-sided dice to predict the podium.
Almost, yeah. It's not far away.
I mean, Lucas Martins, I kind of want to bring this up. He's a 400 metres freestyler, a 200 metres freestyler, and he's incredibly good at the 200 metres backstroke. He makes this final. It's shades of like Lochte, but
almost.
I'd say Lochte was the better backstroker who then switched to freestyle.
Other way around. Yeah. And that's what I think, because Lochte was so good at his underwaters that it kind of played into his hands on the freestyle a little bit as well. Honestly, I can't remember Martins doing backstroke up until this meet. I was like, I couldn't.
Well, he's got a fast PB in this, but he's never swum it internationally.
Yeah, which is really quite bizarre. I don't know why he's done that. Obviously, he's on the form of his life, as he clearly showed on his 400. Unfortunately, I guess on his 200, the field was just stacks. And could he sneak a bronze, silver, gold maybe? He could very much win a medal here.
I don't even know who makes this podium. It's gonna get faster again because
it has to. Yeah.
Well, it was a 156.52 to make this. I still think a 154 is needed to win it.
I think so. Yeah. I'll let you do the prediction on this one, because I don't know if I'm having a good 2 days of predictions. I mean, I had one outstanding day, and then I've kind of gone off the rails a bit. I
will go Hubert Koss. I'll go momentum of Lucas Martins to shock and get silver.
Ooh, okay.
And then I'll go the Swiss, who I'm going to struggle to pronounce his name.
Oh, Michukov or something.
Michukov, there we go. Yeah. We'll stick with that. I'll go with the Swiss for bronze, although that's genuinely could go anywhere.
Yeah, very similar to the men's 100 free, where the whole field could potentially get the podium, couldn't they?
I mean, you called that
5,
podium.
6. Yeah, almost. I didn't get Popovich on the podium, did I? Close on that. But I agree. I think Koss is the one to beat here. He's the one that's going to win the gold. I'm going to go for Michukov to get the silver. And then I'm going to go for the South African Peter Coetzee to get the bronze.
Okay.
That's the way I'm going.
It feels like a cop-out. You've gone the top 3 qualifiers for the final.
Oh, have I? Oh, I haven't even got the list in front of me. That's just the way I'm feeling.
Okay. I'll allow you. Women's 200 metres breaststroke then. The third of tonight's 4 finals. This one is a mighty, mighty good head-to-head. A little bit like the 200 metres butterfly semi-finals, where Kate Douglas and Tatiana Smith were in the same semi-final, and you get the feeling neither of them wanted to give an inch.
Yeah.
So they both end up going 2:19s into this. For me, Kate Douglas looked the stronger of the two doing it.
Yes,
and it was her swim skills and the turns which seemed to get the better of Tatiana Smith.
The turns and the gliding, technically, it's difficult to say technically because Smith has such a different technique to Douglas. Whatever works for them, I guess, individually. But I agree. I think the gliding, the turns, the underwater work all suited Douglas. And then the pacing, I suppose, at the end, Smith, I think, was just fast on the last 100, I believe. This is a classic head-to-head. I think Shooten also has a chance, but I think she's going to get the bronze. Swimmer. Yes, she is. I think she's going to be on the bronze, though. And she did back off in that semi-final. 2:22, I believe, and so
she's in the first one. So
she could very much go, easily 2:20. What's it going to take to win, though? I thought 2:19 was going to be good.
Yeah, so did I. I think they both. I actually think both of them dip below. Possibly,
yeah,
or at least I think Kate Douglas looks the stronger of the two, based on what I've seen so far.
It's so difficult to bet against Smith because
she's already won 1 gold, and she is the Olympic champion and record holder. So her record's a 2:18.9. That might get broken.
Yeah, probably.
The world record's not going.
No, it's not. Blimey. Does Lily King have a shot of a podium as well? Maybe a real outside chance?
In the heats, it looked like she was going backwards. The semi-finals looked a little bit stronger. She really takes it out from the gun the hardest.
She does.
And she's going to be in an outside lane, but a 2:23, she's got a long way to drop to make this podium.
She's got to find
that semi-final swim.
Yeah, I think worst case scenario, 2:21 is a podium, and that's bronze for me.
I think
that's worst case.
Slow, yeah.
Worst case. I think it's going to be a 2:20 at least.
Yeah.
With the top two, going to at least 2:19 low.
Okay.
I've said Sjostrom for the bronze. I don't know. I can't really split them for this gold.
I'll go Douglas.
You
Smith,
think Douglas
Sjostrom,
and I'll go the other way. Then I'll go Smith, Douglas, Sjostrom.
Oh, there we go.
Covered our bases. One of us will get it right.
Fingers
Hopefully.
crossed. Sjostrom might win.
Yeah, you never know.
Then we finished the session with the women's 4x200 meters freestyle. There's nothing really to take away from the heats whatsoever. Australia should win the gold. If they don't, push their luck with relay takeovers. Heats, what on earth are you doing? A 0.03 takeover is one way to make your coaches a bit mad.
They were lucky. They were very lucky.
There was no need.
All perfectly timed. One of those. You don't take that risk. Not even a final, really, especially when you're such a heavy favourite for this gold. You just forget about the world record and hitting a fast time. Just make sure you get the gold. And to get the gold, you've got to be in a final. And they were pushing their luck there. Australia are huge favourites. Molly O'Callaghan to join the team. Titmus to join the team. Two of the fastest 200 freestylers we've ever seen. Not a lot to read into the heats, if I'm honest. Every big team was going to make this final. I suppose from a GB point of view, we look okay, I think.
Okay, we qualify in 7th, though.
Yeah.
It's going to be a close blanket across the lot, though, because your second was 7:52.2, GB was 7:53.4.
I mean, we got
They
Freya Colbert to come
rested
in.
Freya, which I think is really good. And I think they swam a little bit like the guys did in the final, where the first 150, they just made sure of the placing, and then they saved energy for the last 50, which doesn't necessarily correlate to the times being the fastest. Like Abby swam a 1:57.1 this morning, but I think she's capable of much faster. But that last 50 from Abby was really good.
Was good.
Same with Freya.
Yes.
It's a choice now between Lucy and Medi, who joins them on this team. I think Lucy Hope will get it based on splits this morning, unless the decision was already made ahead of the final, but I don't think it was. So you're going to go Freya Anderson, which I think is a very good thing for this team.
Yep.
Abby Wood, Freya Colbert, and most probably Lucy Hope. So hopefully within that team, you've got 3 1:56 swimmers, I hope.
Oh, wow. That would be good.
That would be really good. I mean, can Freya Colbert off of relay takeover get down to a 1:55?
See, I think Freya Colbert will lead. And
Do
then
you?
push,
Okay.
Then you push Freya Anderson as the anchor. That's what I think.
I kind of
will
like
happen.
that as well.
And then, you stick, let's say, it doesn't matter, Abby or Lucy.
I think you put
It depends
Abby
who gets the
second.
nod. Yeah, I think you put Abby second just to try and maintain towards the front of the
water.
race. Yeah. I mean...
Can we realistically challenge for the podium? I think this is really tough. I think you're going to be looking at fighting between Chinese. I mean, the Hungarians did really well this morning, and then Canada.
I was going to say Canada.
Names to come back in. Yes, Marie-Sophie Harvey swam the heats this morning, but I mean, Summer's going to have just swam a 2 fly, but she's going to come into this, and she is a 1:53 swimmer, which is a big drop from what the Brits are capable of.
Yeah, she will do at least a 1:54, I would have thought, which is still, based on this morning's swims, 3 seconds faster than what Abby and Freya Anderson did. So that's a big chunk of time to try and make up for the rest of the team. I think we've got a chance, and it's a slim one. It's a slim one. We're going to have to absolutely nail each takeover. And the times, we're going to have to race this really, really hard. But I'm not going to say it's not a possibility. It's just very slim, I think.
And that is the final. Well, actually, should we predict a podium for that one?
Oh, we can do. Australia gold.
Yeah, don't need to think about that one.
Let's go for America. Yeah, and then the Chinese haven't been great, if I'm honest. They haven't been great. But I am going to go for...
They've got one They had a swimmer this morning who swam a 1:55.8.
Yeah. Do I think Canada or China? How much of an effect is that summer swim going to have before this relay? I'll go for China. I'm going to go for China for bronze.
To cover bases, I actually thought Canada, so I'm going to go Canada.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Just summer effect, and they've got two essentially individual finalists. If Summer had swum it, I think in the 2-3.
Yeah, I think that's where I go. Yeah.
Okay, semi-finals for tonight. We'll rattle through these because this has been quite a long podcast so far with all of the racing last night. Men's 50 meters freestyle semi-finals. Some big names almost miss.
That's the beauty of a 50 meter, though, isn't it? So
50, yeah. Dressel went 21.9. Nothing really to take away from that. Heat swim through. I'll tell you what. Let's just concentrate on the big 3, or at least the 3 or 4 fastest ones.
Yeah.
Jordan Crooks 21.51 looked really good, and his start is one hell of a joker to have in a 50 meters freestyle.
It does
it's
help, eh?
right up there.
Yeah.
I know we say Ben Proud's second, but maybe Jordan Crooks might be second to Dressel.
Yeah.
Cam McAvoy is 21.32, swam away from the field. He didn't really get left behind from Jordan Crooks or Dressel, who was next to him. Looked like he took the foot off the gas with the last 15. So I think he's my favourite for gold right now. I know it's very, very early doors.
Based on that morning swim, you're going to have to say so. Yeah.
Manadou at 21.54 with a raucous French crowd as well. They're going to be cheering on him. He looked in really good shape.
I was going to bring that up. Has he been in this good a shape ever? He looks like an absolute animal.
How nuts would it be for him to make another podium? That would be 4 Olympics in a row in the 50 meters freestyle.
That would be really good going. And he went at 21.5 just then.
Yeah.
And I do think there is more to give. I think he just changed down a gear on that last 10, 15 meters as well. So expects faster time from him there.
And talking about changing down a gear, Ben Proud pulled the handbrake on a 21.7 in his heat swim, where he took a giant breath at 10 meters go and stopped.
Yeah,
that was as much of a slowdown as, it was such a hard break that you will ever see. And that is why these boys will not breathe in semi-finals and finals.
Yeah, and he still went 21.7 as well. So that is extremely impressive. So I suppose going in, Cam McAvoy is the fastest by, I suppose, a bit of a margin, 0.2 roughly, I think it is. So I suppose he has to go in as favourite. But like you say, Manadou basically stopped. Ben certainly stopped. I think Dressel was maybe the question mark here. But I still think there's more to come from him. Crooks is always in with a shout just because of his start. Burkhoff was a little questionable, I suppose. He's another question mark for me. And he is capable, obviously, of 21.4 or 5. So hopefully he does a little bit stronger swim in the semi-finals. But I think there was some solid swims throughout, if I'm honest.
Wild guess, what makes the semi-finals?
Ooh, 21 point. I think they're going to have to go quite quick. 21.8 is the absolute slowest that they're going to have to go.
I was thinking 21.7.
Yeah, I was thinking, I think 8 is the absolute slowest. So,
Next up, women's 200 meters backstroke. Again, the heats this morning. You don't need to read a thing into these ones because the top swimmers made it through in a 2:10.5, which is actually fast for 200 meters backstroke heats at individual at a major championships. Would you believe? But it isn't fast for the top swimmers who literally switched off and just coasted. Reagan Smith went at 2:09.6, Katie McEwen at 2:08.8. That's PB plus 5 for both of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is crazy. Honey Osrin and Katie Shanahan safely through, job done. I think there's much more to give. Both of them took out the first 100, I think, over a second, where they're going to want to take it tonight.
Yep.
Katie looked good. Actually, so did Honey. Both of them looked good, and it was just a professional job getting through the heats. Sub 2:10 makes it, really.
I just think solid all round, really. All they had to do is go 2:8, 2:9, and they're all comfortably in the semi-finals. All the top swimmers made it. No disasters, no shocks, no one of them going out. So the job has to be done in the semi-finals to make the top 8 now, of which I definitely think Honey and Katie have the potential to do that, but they're going to have to go.
It's a tight field right now, but I don't think it will be after the semi-finals. I think maybe a 2:8 makes it, maybe sub 2:8.
Yeah, I was about to say a low 2:8. I think low 2:8 is your 7th, 8th sort of position, of which then we're going to have to find a second and a half for our girls based on our heat swim, which they're capable of course.
Men's 200 meters IM, Leon Marchand back in the water, sub 2 minutes was enough to get through in this one. Duncan Scott qualifies second fastest. Tom Dean 7th fastest. Again, really not too much to read from these heats because it was Duncan swam a 1:57.7. Leon Marchand hit a 1:57.8. Like, it was just professional jobs to get through, really.
I suppose
at this point in the meet, a lot of people, the nerves are out the way.
I think it's all professional jobs now. I suppose the people might raise the question of, Carsten Foster's a little bit off the pace, but actually going first in the seeded heats is always a tough ask. 1:58.6 looked comfortable at the time, and then everyone jumps in and goes faster than that. But yeah, he's certainly one to watch later on. What's it going to take to get the final, I guess? What do you reckon?
Low 1:57?
Oh, wow, that's quick. I would have thought that's a little bit too quick. I think your sub
reckon?
58 is good.
Really? I mean, there were 4 of them on that this morning, and those heats looked fairly comfortable for all of them.
Yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I think a 1:58 is good.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, maybe.
Fair enough.
Sorry, sub 1:58, not 1:58. Sub 1:58.
Okay, that just about rounds up our Day 6 daily podcast from Propulsion Swimming during the Paris 2024 Olympics. Let us know in the comment section below if you've got any thoughts on the podiums tonight. There's 3 fascinating races to get your heads into. Last night was certainly one of the best sessions we're going to see at these Olympic Games. Let's carry on that momentum into the back half of this week. We're on the homeward stretch now, so enjoy it while it's still going.
Yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying the weather because it is absolutely
here in the UK,
roasting. Yeah. Well, I'm in Paris as well. It is warm. But hopefully everyone's enjoyed it so far. That evening session, it'll be very difficult to top that if I'm perfectly honest with you. Yeah. But still got some amazing races to go, and tonight is another good session as well.
Okay, so make sure you're subscribed if you haven't already on, as we always say, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. It means you get this feed straight in your inbox when we set it live, so you can listen to this before the night's racing. And me and Dan will see you in 24 hours.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everyone, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
You've been listening to the Propulsion Swimming Podcast with Scott and Dan. We want to thank you for joining us and invite you to subscribe to the show, as well as checking out the Propulsion Swimming YouTube channel for weekly tutorials and videos to get your swimming fix. We will be back next week. Until then, we'll catch you on the next one.